uh, people my age, and I'm saying people born in the 60s, maybe including people born in the 50s, 60s, and maybe even in the 70s. Whenever we started a business, it was to be in that business for the end of our lives and till the end of our lives, and then maybe hand it over to our children, and that's it. We never thought of exit by selling the business or by going public, right? So that is how businesses were started. But today, for somebody who's born perhaps in the 90s, 80s, 90s, and maybe later going forward, they believe that they should do a startup and then they should exit. I'm not getting into right wrong. I'm getting into reasons which people can't understand as to why a company would want to remain private, right? So there are companies which believe that they should remain private till they can run it, they should run it, and after that they should shut down. People my age would know of something called Agarwal classes in Bombay. They used to be in Dadar and used to be very famous, and getting admission in Agarwal classes was more important after class 12 than getting into good colleges because seats were limited. That man said that, look, I can't take my company public, I cannot use the name Agarwal if I am not going to teach, and he just shut it down, right? That is what people thought should be done. Whereas there are many companies which, there are three options available, right? One is you build your company, grow it, and take on partners and say, okay, as I move on, I will move on, but the business will run. The second is you run your company well, and then you go public and liquidate your stake and be done with it, because after some time you will die, and so at 60 you retire or 70 you retire, whatever, and then you give up control, right? So the third possibility is you say, okay, as long as I am alive and running it, I will be private, I am profitable, and I am happy with this kind of profits. I don't want to be a big chain and things like that Mexican fisherman story. I'm not repeating it, I've said this in various places. If you go to Google, you'll be able to find it. So at some stage, if I'm running a small restaurant in a suburb which has got 30 seats capacity, I don't really need too much money, and if I'm profitable, I don't need any money. I've already bought the place. I don't have any rental income. I have good, decent people working for me. I don't need to do anything else on that. I don't spend too much on interiors, and I give reasonable value for money. Say 50 rupees for a plate of idli, which is not bad, or maybe 70 rupees for a plate of idli, and I'm not interested in changing that. So understand the third option. It is very important that I think that my company can run well without any outsiders' money, and I don't want my company's vision to be compromised by an exit. For example, if I'm running an ad agency, I've not seen very many, at least not in India, very many ad agencies, because they believe that the culture will be killed by new money coming in, etc. I believe that if I'm running a PMS, portfolio management services, I need some money, and I have that, right? So I start a PMS and I run it. I don't need to take it public, because once you take it public, then there is pressure to increase business, to do things which are not so good and not so clean. So definitely there is a compromise of vision in some of these businesses, right? In a hospital, perhaps venture funding of a hospital is, I think, a disastrous idea, but it has happened. There is Apollo Hospital which is public, there is Fortis Hospital which is owned by a Singapore based company. There are companies, right? There are companies which are, and I do think hospitals are very, very capital intensive. Every new hospital costs a few crores, so your 70th hospital or 75th hospital can happen without the outside money, but your hospital number 3 cannot happen without outside money. You need outside money. So there is some conflict between what you should do and what you should not do. For example, a listed venture capital company, or a listed asset management company recently that I heard of, they have convinced a lot of people to shift their portfolios to them, saying, oh, we will save you a lot of money on the brokerage that you pay or on the commissions that you pay. And after having shifted them, then they have got them some private equity deals and private debt deals, which I hear on the other side, they've made tons of money from those promoters, right? So once you are under public scrutiny and you have shareholders saying, oh, get us more profits, then you want to grow it quarter on quarter at 30% and get better PE, right? The PE pressure, which is the private equity pressure or the price to earning pressure, can make you compromise on value. So there are promoters whom I meet who are very clear that they don't want to go public. They are very clear that their children won't come into the business. They would rather run the business aground rather than sell it and spoil their name. There are such people, right? In this day and age, and we are talking in 2022. There are many companies which are there in the public space, which are visible to you. Service providers like SAS, SurveyMonkey, sorry, who have decided not to go public, saying we are profitable, we want to remain this size, and if we want to grow, we will not take money from the public. Asset management companies are not companies which need to go public. They largely go public to prove to the world that they can go public and to give an exit to their existing shareholders and to the employees who have been given a lot of ESOP promising them PEs of 30. Indian AMCs have to be aware that they would get a PE of 8 as India gets more and more globalized, because that's the PE at which international asset management companies are available at. Right, so if I can get a international asset management company at a PE of 8, there is absolutely no reason why I would pay a PE of 38 for an Indian equivalent. And that is going to put a lot of pressure on the pricing. So if I know there is going to be pressure on pricing, there is no reason at all for me to hold on to those shares. So I'd rather be out of those shares. I'm not giving this as investment advice. I may or may not be invested in mutual funds, and my wife may be holding the shares. I may have sold, right? So don't get into that. But I'm not very happy. I don't think asset management companies are a great business idea for making money as a shareholder. But will the original shareholder make money? Yes, of course. The guys who came in at $10 will make money. Will you make money having bought it at an IPO? I don't know. Or more than IPO, these have all been OFS, and so the chances are you making great money in these same brands because you made money in their bank or any other equivalent is not true. You will not make much money, but yes, some money you'll end up making. So there are companies which I meet where they are very clear that we are here to build a big company. We are not here to sell. And I meet a lot of young entrepreneurs who believe that they have to take a company, make it, flip it, and sell. Right? How people buy property, hold it for 5 years, hope to double their money, and then sell. Right? That is exactly how they're building companies. Nothing right, nothing wrong. But when you're doing that, it is visible to the world, and the world may not be willing to buy it from you at the price on the time when you want it. Right? You want to sell it in 2027, they may be willing to pay the same price in 2034. Right? So then, well, the returns are not so great, and your employees may not stick around because they can't see exit. The question to ask is, what matters is, are you profitable? If you're profitable, are you happy with the market share that you have? And are you willing to listen to a lot of nonsense from a lot of young venture capitalists? If the answer is yes, that you're profitable and you don't need to grow it, and you don't want to mess around with venture capitalists, private equity players, you're better off being on your own. Take minimum amount from other friends and relatives as late as possible, and give them a buyback after 3 years or 4 years. Yes, your employees are going to be very upset if you don't go public because they can't encash it. But if going public actually hurts your vision, maybe you should not go public. Maybe you're profitable, be there. You're 32 years of age, you've got another 28 years to work out, seeing what happens. Stick around, do that, nothing wrong. Every company need not go public, because if it will destroy the very culture for which your organization is made, stick to it. Don't go public. Thank you.